it's really hard to make progress if you're actually subconsciously fighting your own brain the whole time, when you're wanting and actually needing to go into a certain amount of pain for certain reasons, grow muscle, to grow stamina, to just actually even grow that self-belief in what's possible. So how do we overcome this sense of dread? Every pain is a bad thing. All pain is equal. All pain is bad. I'm taking myself one step closer to the inevitable of, instead of improving my life, I've actually just made it exponentially worse. And obviously the first thing is put your ego aside, which is a hard thing to do sometimes, and start off very gently. Very gently. The thing about it is it's supposed to be repeatable. So it's gentle enough, it's not very stressful, if at all stressful, that you can repeat it. And we all want to get going, so we've decided to make that decision to get going, and then we have to tell ourselves, yeah, but get going slowly. And often whatever you think of as your starting point, actually ratchet it back even more, because if you've had long periods where your body has been not able to operate to anywhere near its fullest extent, just getting all those joints and ligaments and tendons moving again is a lot more effort than we first think, and especially if we've been where we've been compensating, so muscles uneven, our muscle memory is in terrible shape, so it wants to go to old patterns that are maybe not serving us. So 2, work as closely as you can with a health professional, physio, exercise, a PT that understands where you're coming from, so they can help you work out, and it takes a little bit of working out, what is my good pain, what is a pain I need to back off from, what's a twitch that is okay to ignore, what's a twitch to understand and to keep an eye on. As your movement changes, your footwear or your clothing, or these things aren't static from where it used to be. Like I found, because I hadn't run basically since school really, that my shoe size went up 2 sizes, 2.5 sizes really, and I went to a wide box. But if I'd just persisted with shoes I'd always worn, that would have ended in disaster. I also know from the shoes I have now what is early warning signs. Sometimes I still miss them. If my knees are getting excessively sore, and that's actually telling me that my shoes have worn unevenly, because I'm not going to land, like a gazelle and not uneven a little bit. I'm getting straighter, but still not perfect by any means. So, that's my early warning. And at first, though, of course, I put a lot of that knee pain down to, just, oh man, get over yourself, and the first time I went to swap out shoes, and even the second time, I kept them way longer than I should have. Between, what I know now and what I should have done then. So that's something to keep in mind. Have people that you work with, but then making sure you also change your equipment as your body changes. And you don't need the flashes, you just need stuff that won't put pressure on your body as it's trying to get going. But then you're also working out, are you better off individually, groups, what motivates you, what keeps you motivated. For me, most of the time I enjoy the solace. There's a lot of things in my life where you're giving your time to other things or for other things, and so the run is my quiet time, to just let myself potter along. Weirdly, when I'm on the bike, I often enjoy podcasts, music. But a lot of time running, I actually prefer the sound of my feet, my heavy breathless. But the breathless, I used to find it quite actually intimidating. I used to find it quite ugly, and to be honest, if I was running with someone else, I'd probably still find that, but I now find it when it's just me. I think of it more as the sound of me doing it rather than the sound of what I'm not capable of. So on the whole, I don't mind it as much now. And I know if I was running with someone, I'd probably find it a bit more intimidating again, but and sometimes it takes a little while to come to things on your own terms and how you feel about it. As I said before, as a people pleaser, it was hard to give myself this time, especially when you're giving yourself this time going, is this, making my life better or worse? And that's, in those initial bit, it's a real struggle to work out that. And then of course, you improve, and this is the next thing, you improve thinking, well, that'll help me, be pain-free. In fact, nothing more from the truth, because you've just changed what you're capable of. So now, of course, whatever that level is, whatever that level is, that's where you put yourself, which means what was not possible before is now just painful. So weirdly, you do work, you improve your body, and often in that day-to-day sense of living, but even there sometimes you've changed what you think of as your normal output. So you're often living a little bit bigger in terms of physical, even mental, because mentally, if you're releasing your brain from the burn of coping with endless pain, that constant, especially at night, that constant white noise, then of course it's hopefully you're going to occupy yourself with more of the good stuff, and that you're tiring yourself out, but it's for much better reasons than it was maybe 6 months or a year earlier. So it's a little bit of a fallacy that you do exercise to make yourself pain-free. Hopefully you improve what sort of pain it is. Hopefully you improve your mobility. But then the contradiction of that is you step more into that zone, and to keep improving those muscles and keep improving that stamina, you're definitely going to have a little bit more of that. So and then you get into a bit of a plateau where you go, I don't think I'm improving, and then you'll do something that before took the brain a little while to work out, and how will I step off this step, and is it even possible, is it too high, and you'll just actually step off it, and you realise it can seem like you're not improving, but hang in there. Set a consistency in your program, understanding what you need to do to keep your body in a good strength pattern, a good symmetrical pattern, that you're not then getting one side fitter and stronger and the other side is not. And then all things are possible. Alright, we go back down a little hill, which still freaks me a little bit, but let's go. So the final thing you want to think about is my protective brain the brain that has served me, while I was in recovery, while I was coping with whatever life was throwing at you? Is that actually the brain muscle I still want to be exercising? Because that brain is primary. That brain is there for a very good reason. And of course, we actually have to almost go in and switch that off and take it off automatic and put it back on manual and take control of a lot of its thoughts and actions, because if we leave it on automatic, it is primed for you not to have or to get out of pain, not to lean into pain, and not to think pain can be progression. So check in. What's my program? What I expect my pain levels. Am I expecting too much of myself? Adjust and then be consistent and let it tick over. Let it fill your buckets back up of what's possible and find out what is my new normal, whatever that is, and then in my times of stretch, what can I lead myself to? And does that mean I fall back to the normal, or does my normal nudge forward? And some of those things we can't possibly know until we do the thing. So do the thing, start off way slower, way simpler, way more easy than you probably think, and then start to change the pain story that your brain has built around what is possible, what's not possible, and then with that, where do I want to end up? 6 months, 18 months, 2 years, and have little tangible goals and It might be a slightly bigger goal that's a little scary, but you know, don't make your goal so big that you've made it so it's almost impossible to reach, and so you self-sabotage. It's a good excuse to self-sabotage. Yes, once you get going, that little whisper of, I want to try that, then that's the time to start going. But sometimes if you make that first goal so big, so inspiring, instead of inspiring you, it actually buries you in self-doubt, and that, you know, pretty much nothing is possible. Alright, leave with that thought. Like and subscribe. Let me know, you know, what your brain came up with your pain story, and what was actually unconsciously putting a handbrake on the progress that you're trying to make. Like and subscribe. Take care. See you on the next video.